Good morning. Welcome to another week of Children's Church. We are so glad that you have tuned in and that you are joining us. Today our story is all about Jesus meeting a man who has leprosy, which is a skin disease which would have made it like all of his skin would have been like covered in this leprosy, and it would have meant that he couldn't feel anything, which would have been really, really difficult for him. So we're going to see what happens whenever Jesus meets this man, and it is such a special story. It's so exciting. It's probably one of my favourite stories. So just before we start, I am going to pray for us. Let's pray. Dear God, we thank you that whenever you meet us, you change us completely. Thank you that you are with us all the time, and I just pray that today, through this story, we would learn so much about you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Looking out, it's a great big world. Where do I go? How do I fit in? Gotta keep this one thing on my mind. Maker of all the universes on my side, and if God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me? He is my strength, He is my friend forever. God is for me, who can be against me? Never. Looking out, it's a great big world. Where do I go? How do I fit in? Gotta keep this one thing on my mind. Maker of all the universes on my side, and if God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me? He is my strength, He is my friend forever. God is for me, who can be against me? When I just don't understand, God is for me. When life doesn't go the way I planned, God is for me. When I just don't understand, God is for me. When life doesn't go the way I planned, God is for me. If God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me? He is my strength, He is my friend forever. God is for me, who can be against me? God is for me, who can be against me?
Hi everybody, it's really good to see you again. Hope everybody's keeping really well. Today's story can be found in the first 3 books of the New Testament in the Bible. Matthew, Mark and Luke are also the names of the 3 men that either heard about the story or were there to see the story for themselves. Today's story is about a man with leprosy. Now, what is leprosy? Leprosy is a disease that's caused by bacteria. People that get leprosy usually live in poor areas, dirty water, not enough food, maybe they're not healthy to begin with. It looks very bad. It can make your face look all bumpy and completely change the way a person looks. Some people get it on their hands or on their feet, and they can lose their fingers and their toes because of it. This isn't even everything that leprosy does, but you get the picture. On top of that all, in Jesus' time, people thought leprosy was caused by people doing sins. So if someone had leprosy, it was because they'd done something wrong. For all of these reasons, lepers, as they were called, were kicked out of the city and had to live outside it. They weren't allowed into shops or churches or any public place, And many times they had to live in the dumps with the garbage and had to find food and other things they needed. No one wanted to see them for fear of touching them and catching the disease or becoming unclean because of their sins. Now, the story. Jesus was going around at this time healing people and telling stories. Word got round about Jesus and people would come and follow him because they wanted to hear what he had to say or see him do miracles. While Jesus was walking and talking with people, a man with leprosy approached him. He fell on his knees and put his face on the ground and said, "Lord, if you want to, can you heal me and make me clean?" Something amazing happened next. Like it was no big deal, Jesus just reached out and touched the man. Hold on, Jesus reached out and touched someone with leprosy? This wasn't allowed, and now Jesus would be unclean, and besides the man looked really bad and was probably really sick. None of that mattered to Jesus though. He reached out his hand and said to the man, "I will heal you, be clean." And right at that moment, the leprosy left him. This showed that Jesus was more than just a man. He healed the man of his disease, but also cleansed him from his sin without becoming infected himself. Jesus then asked the man to do one thing. He said, not to tell anyone what had happened, but just go to the priest and be checked out. This would show that he was cleansed, and he could leave an offering. And then the priest would give him permission, and he'd be able to go back and live with the people again. By going to the priest, the healed man would send a message that Jesus had special power from God. The people were waiting for the Messiah, someone who'd come and save them, and the priests and Jews believed that only God could cure leprosy. This was supposed to be a sign that the Messiah had come. Instead, the man was too excited and he told everyone what had happened. This made it hard for Jesus to walk in the cities because large crowds followed him everywhere, and the Jewish leaders started to go against Jesus because they didn't believe that he was sent from God. Jesus would often go off by himself and pray, but people still kept coming to see him. The message I want you to take from this story is that it doesn't matter to Jesus what you've done or how you look or what other people think about you. He made you and he loves you no matter what. Every day Jesus is trying to reach out and show his love to you, but sometimes we're just too busy to notice. Start taking notice of the beautiful things outside, butterflies, flowers, sunset, and the love of a parent or a friend, or even kindness from a stranger. All these things are ways that God is trying to show that he loves you.
Boys and girls, it is so good to have you join us again as once more we learn something else about Jesus, and also about another way that he found to love people. Jesus always finds a way to love people. It doesn't matter what is going on, what is happening in their lives, Jesus finds a way to love them. And maybe that's our first little lesson, that no matter what's going on with us, he will find a way to let us know that we are loved, that we are special, that there is no one that he thinks more of than you. Today's story, you have heard it. It's about a man with leprosy. Now, leprosy is not something that people have here where we live, but people who live in different parts of the world, they have leprosy, and it affects their skin, and then it can affect their hands, and it affects their feet, and it leaves them all scarred. And sometimes it is so bad that they lose fingers and toes. And the worst thing about leprosy is, and was when Jesus was meeting this man, was that people with leprosy, they were put out. They were put out of their homes, and they had to go and live away from everybody that loved them. They had no option. It just had to happen. Now, we know a little bit about isolation over the last year, don't we? COVID-19 has been a big part of all of our lives. We've had to wear masks, some of us depending on our age, but harder than that, we haven't been able to go to school. We're separated from friends, and we've been separated from some of our family. maybe a granny or a granda or an uncle or an aunt that you haven't seen for ages, and that has been really hard. Now, the man in our story today, he was not just isolated for a few months or even a year, and we know what that's like, but he has been separated from everybody that loves him for years and years. Jesus wanted to show this man he was loved. And the man with leprosy, actually, he came to Jesus. He had heard the stories about how he loved others, how he healed others. And so this man with leprosy, do you remember in the story how he came to Jesus and he said to him, "Lord, if you're willing, you can make me clean." And clean in the story was a description to make him better again. Now that showed that this man, he knew that Jesus had the power. He knew that there was nothing that Jesus couldn't do. And so he said to him, "If you're willing, you can do it." Now, we know from the story what happened. We know that Jesus has love in his heart for everyone. And so Jesus, not only did he heal the man, but did you notice how he healed him? He reached out and touched him. Now, people in Jesus' day with leprosy, nobody ever touched them. They weren't allowed to, but the disease was so infectious that a touch could transfer it from one person to another. So this man hadn't had another person touch him for years and years, but Jesus did. And what happened was that, the disease didn't transfer from the man to Jesus, but what transferred was from Jesus to the man. His power transferred. And what happened was that this man was immediately made better. No more did he have scars on his hands and over his body. Now you could imagine how grateful he was. We're not told, but maybe he did a little happy dance. Think about it this way. Jesus loved the man so much that he gave him back his family and he gave him back his life. He gave him back the ability to have a job again and to do all the things that other people did. You see, Jesus always finds the way to show his love, not just to a man with leprosy in this story in Luke's Gospel, but to you. And that's really important, always to remember that he loves you and he will find a way to show that love. Our memory verse today helps us to see different ways that Jesus finds to love people. It's from Luke 7 verse 22, and it includes these words that people that are benefiting from Jesus' love, there is a description of what that looks like. Jesus loves them, and so the blind see, the lame walk, and lame means people who can't walk. Those with leprosy, just like our story, are cured. The deaf, they hear. The dead are raised to life. And the good news is being told to the poor. And that's what Jesus' love does. He makes the blind to see, just not with their eyes, but also with their hearts, that he is God the Son. And the best thing to do in life is to follow him. He made the lame to walk. The people with leprosy, they got cured. People who were deaf, he helped them to hear again. He raised the dead to life. Such was his incredible power. But most important of all, he shared the good news of the gospel, that God so loves the world that he gave Jesus so that everyone who believes in him wouldn't perish but have eternal life. And Jesus did all of that because of his love.
Hi, boys and girls. It is now time for our quiz. I hope you've been listening really carefully to this week's story. Let's get started together. Our first question is, where is the story of Jesus healing the man with leprosy found in the Bible? Well, let's have a look at the options. Do you think it's at the start with Genesis chapter 1, verses 10? Is it Psalm 83, verse 18? Or is it in Luke chapter 5, verses 12 to 16? What do you think? Let's have a look to see if you're right. This week's story was found in the Bible in Luke chapter 5, verses 12 to 16. Well done if you got that right. Our next question. Leprosy is an infectious disease. Do you think that's true or do you think that's false? Let's have a look. The answer is true. Leprosy was an infectious disease, so people wouldn't have wanted to be near that person that maybe had that disease. Next question. What did the man do when he saw Jesus? Did he fall on his knees or did he run up to him and give him a big high five? What do you think? Let's see. He fell on his knees. He couldn't believe he was in front of Jesus and he got down on his knees. Let's see what happens next. He begged and said, please make me clean. But what did Jesus do? What did Jesus do when the man begged him to clean him? Did he reach out his hand and touch the man? Did he turn and walk away because this man had an infectious disease? Or did he have tea with him? Let's have a look. That's right, he reached out his hand and he touched the man and healed him. Let's see what came next. Why was Jesus able to heal the man? Do you think it was because he had Weetabix for his breakfast? Or do you think Jesus was able to heal the man because he is the Son of God? What's your answer? Let's check if you're right. It's because Jesus is the Son of God. What did Jesus tell the man to do when he was healed? Did he say to go straight home and tell all of his family? Or did he say, don't tell anyone, but go and show the priest? What do you think? Let's have a look together. The answer is he said, don't tell anyone, just go straight and show the priest. Well done for taking part in this week's quiz. Now remember, you can also follow along with your resource booklet that you will have got, and you can complete the different activities for your age group based on this week's story of Jesus healing the man with leprosy.
Thank you for joining us for Children's Church this week. We hope you have learned so much about God and how much He loves you. Have a great week, and we'll see you here again next week. Bye.